Ow, my hand. I hate you. Try the drill again. Ah! Crank it over a good 10 revolutions, or what sounds like 10 revolutions. And those are your dry numbers. Here in a second, we're going to put oil down all these spark plug tubes. Oil, being wet, makes it a wet test. Alright everybody, thanks for coming to the channel. As you can see, I have the engine for the Prelude here. This is the one I will be putting in. The one that I removed is over there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that hunk of junk. So today we're going to do a compression test on this thing. As you can see, it's not in the car. This is not the way you'd normally do this. My numbers will be skewed. There's no way around that. I guarantee I won't get full compression, but I just want to make sure we do get compression. I want to make sure that it's pretty well the same across the board. That's what we're really looking for. As long as we're close in numbers, I'm assuming this engine will be good and won't need a complete teardown. I fear that I will need to pull the head off of it and do a top end rebuild. That's what we're going to figure out today. So if you've never done a compression test, we'll start with cylinder 1 here. Now normally you would have an engine in the car, have somebody sit in the car, you would disable the ignition and fuel, have them sit with it at wide open throttle, and then crank it. Generally I go for what sounds like 10 revolutions. Usually you'll see the number max out on the little gauge, and then you release the pressure, move to the next one. If you have irregular numbers or abnormally low numbers, there's what's called a dry and wet test. We will cover those as we get further in this video. So we're starting with what's called a dry test, and we're going to crank this over by hand. There's no throttle body on this. It simulates wide open throttle. We're going to take my handy dandy drill here and crank this over. Make sure you know which way your engine rotates. That is very important. If you rotate it the wrong way, you can cause it to jump timing. You can cause yourself many, many headaches if you don't do it properly and end up going backwards. These Honda engines here rotate counterclockwise. Most engines rotate clockwise. Make sure you know before you do something like this, especially with it in the car. This engine, if I were to go backwards, I'd just take it apart. Not a big deal. It's on the floor. So let's see if we can get some compression here. I'd say we got compression. My poor little drill here. Alright, we're going to try something different. Generally I do not condone an impact on an oil pump like this, but well, it's just going to loosen it, of course. It's not going to rotate it at all. Alright, I guess we're truly doing this by hand. Ugh. We're at 80 psi. See what we get this time. Oh, I think we're going to plateau at 80. Oh, yeah. That's pretty good for doing it by hand, in my opinion. Again, I know this is not the way to do this, but I'm getting some sort of idea or baseline before I attack this engine and just disassemble it like some sort of madman. Do compression. Woo, we got a good one there. That jumped up to 60. Probably helps that I figured out how to do this by hand here. Whoa, this one doesn't want to go above 60. Come off of there. Oh, it moved that time. Come on, drill, go! Whoa, wrong way. Ow, my finger! We're calling that good at 70. Give me my stuff. As I mentioned, a wet and a dry test. What we're doing is considered a dry test. You just put the compression tester in there with the engine cold, wide open throttle generally with it in the car, and crank it over a good 10 revolutions, or what sounds like 10 revolutions. And those are your dry numbers. Here in a second, we're going to put oil down all these spark plug tubes. Oil, being wet, makes it a wet test. If the numbers go up, it signifies that our piston rings are degraded, or in some fashion we've lost seal through the pistons and the cylinder walls. If that's the case, I need a new bottom end. If the numbers don't change, which doing it like this, they're probably not going to, let's be real here. But we're going to do it anyways. So let's do the last dry cylinder. We're set to go. We're set to go. Let's get to our first compression. And there it is. Woo, buddy. Instant 70. Alright. Maybe I'm getting better at this? I don't know. No, that cylinder's pretty. Wee doggy. Let's try this again. Tell you what, this harmonic balancer here is bent to crap. Ugh. There's 80. Let's see if we can break 80 for the first time. Wee doggy! That's definitely me. We got up to 100 there. That's probably as high as I'm making it. Now, it does make me think some of these cylinders are probably not good. But hey, what fun is an experiment if you don't figure it out along the way? Got my handy dandy oil can. We'll stick it down in the hole. Give it a good little bit. Give it a good little bit. Now that we got our oil in there, we'll use the drill to hopefully crank it over this time. There we go. These are moving now. All right. Ow, my hand. I hate you. Try the drill again. Ah! Like 60. Oh. You serious? Let's see if we can do this without breaking another ratchet. I'm not too thrilled about this. This ratchet's done me good for a very long time, but I just broke it. It doesn't. It's like a ratchet head now. So we're going to use my hopefully more stout 1/2 inch drive here. I tested it out. I got up to 90. I think that's pretty good. I love technology. So we're going to try round 2 of this wet test. Apparently my memory card was full. Anyways, we're set up for wet cylinder test, or wet compression test cylinder number 1. So let's get to it. I think that's our compression stroke, and wow! What do you guys think? Was that the compression stroke? So that's 90. There we go. Well, that's a good 110. Cylinder 1, we're going to call that good. It is higher than when we did the dry, but I'm using my foot now because, well, I whacked my hand enough. I seem to get much better results with my foot because I need to hit it quickly to simulate the starter cranking it over. There's an immediate 90. That's 120. We're approaching numbers for a normal compression test. That's crazy. 120 is probably all we're going to get. Cylinder 3. $100 right off the bat. Do we really need to even go any further at that point? I mean, that pretty well tells me that cylinder's good. And again, this is not the way you should do this. But before I went through all the work of putting this in the car, it seemed like a smart idea to at least make an attempt of some kind to figure out the health of the engine. Immediate 100. Again, probably a good cylinder. So given this information from the wet and dry compression test, I'm going to say this engine is probably at least semi-healthy. Least worth trying not to open up the engine for the time being. I believe I'm still going to do some things like pull the intake manifold off, make sure to clean it out real good. It's pretty nasty in there. Now I got, yeah. Anyway, probably gonna clean the intake manifold out. I need to clean the whole thing up, put a new flywheel on with a new clutch. New timing set would probably be smart. Hopefully you learned something about how to do a compression test, or maybe how not to do it. Take it as you will. I did do it improperly, but it's not really in the car. Thank you guys for joining me on the channel today. I hope you enjoyed the video of how to do a wet and dry compression test. If you did, please give it a thumbs up below. If you enjoyed this and other videos, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Please put any comments below what you think I did wrong, did right, given the situation. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm still looking for a name for the 3rd Gen Prelude as well, so if you have any good ideas, feel free to comment them below as well. I'm open to suggestions there. I have no idea. It's usually taken me a long time to come up with a name, or it comes instantaneously. I've had this car almost a decade. Anyway, thanks for joining me on the channel today. I'm MechGuyver. I greatly appreciate you coming. I hope you have a wonderful day, and don't forget, go fast, don't break it.